I recently did an oil transfer for the first time, so I'm going to share with you how I did it to transfer my image for a painting. I have been working on very small canvases, and I actually found it easier to draw the image for the painting on the iPad because the surface of the iPad is bigger than the painting. I think it would drive me crazy to try this technique on like a big canvas where it's just easier to draw it on. But anyways, for the small canvases, this was easier. Hopefully you learned something. With this technique, you're gonna wanna use an earth color because it dries faster. I use burnt umber. You're gonna wanna get a nice big brush that you can be very heavy-handed with. And on a piece of parchment paper, you're gonna rub the paint in very thinly across the whole surface. At this point, I realized it's best to tape the parchment paper down and ended up resorting to duct tape to just stick it to the table. You can actually use a rag instead of a brush for this. I don't know if the word is burnishing, but you're gonna wanna keep rubbing that paint so it goes over the back surface anywhere where the drawing is going to be. I'm using a separate piece of parchment paper, but some people do this directly on the back of their drawing that they want to transfer. Then you put that parchment paper paint side down onto the canvas or panel. Careful not to press it anywhere into the surface so you leave any marks. Again, you're probably going to want to tape it in place. Then you put your drawing on top right side up and start tracing over it in pencil, or the best thing you could use is a blue or red ballpoint pen. I used my maul stick, which is something the oil painters used to lean on so that I didn't touch my hand down on the surface, because anywhere you press, you're gonna leave a mark. One of the reasons I like using the iPad for underdrawing is you can do it in layers, so you can start sketching it in using plumb lines, and then once your drawing is accurate and finalized, you can erase all the sketchiness underneath. Like I said, I drew the image a lot bigger and then printed it the same size as the painting. I would never normally put this much detail in an underdrawing. For me, it's all about the overall shapes, and then I use the paint to kind of draw in more detail. But this is a rare case with the pattern in the background that I was thankful that I did all the hard work in the drawing stage so that I could just go in with a little brush and do it bit by bit. So once you're done, you want to take off the tape on one side and just check that it worked okay. I'd already done a toned ground on this panel with burnt sienna, and you can see that the transfer worked pretty well on top. I had left a couple gaps, but I just sketched them in rather than put the parchment paper back on. After that, I just left it to touch dry and then got started with paint. I actually did this oil transfer a while ago. You can tell by the level of sweaters I'm wearing. I wanted to wait till the collectors had seen the finished painting before I shared it. I did this painting for my friends who got married, and I thought it was funny to do like a traditional couples painting, like some formal merchant couple in the Uffizi gallery. And of course their dog Smiley is included.
I like Smiley.